Well, good evening. Come on in. I want to be respectful for the time we have. So I see some team members that are not too crazy about coming up and talking in front of everybody. But, several of you have been a part of this trip before, and you've also been here and had reports from the trip. You're familiar with some of the things that took place there, but I'm going to invite Dan and Jody to come up, Jason, Lincoln, Mindy, John, Rochelle, Austin, Sydney, and Hope. If you'll come up, we're going to kind of do this sort of like interview style. What I've asked the team to do is maybe share a highlight, a favorite memory, and they have some pictures that will go alongside of their sharing. And I'm waiting for the last person to get to this. Oh. You really want to, Haley. That's all right. We'll start with the captain. Let me just first say, it's impossible for any of us and all of us to sum up our time this past July, and several of you have done this before. It's impossible to really share the heart of it, but I hope that you'll hear the heart of the people. I want to say just quickly, this is just, there's more of them, but we're kind of trying to do them in chunks here. I've served here now for 3 years, and I've walked with each of these people in different ways, and I've seen them as kind and gracious and thoughtful and caring. And a lot of times everybody gives the pastor their best face. Oh, yeah. It's true. Everybody seems like they're on their best behavior. You really get to know people on a trip like this, and these people are exactly that. They are exactly what I have seen here. And I'm so honored to just even have shared the experience with them. This has been a really special team. It's my first time to be with you on a trip like this, but I have been so thoroughly impressed by your kindness, by who you are. It's evident. So I'm really grateful. You as a church, you are well represented when we go to Kenya. There is no greater representation than those who choose to go. The years that they go, you are a great representation of this church. And for me, it's so much fun to be able to say, these are people who are who they say they are, who I have seen them to be. And so I'm really, really glad that you've come out to see some pictures and hear some stories. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Didn't we call you the captain? Chairman. Who was it? Simon that said that, or was it Alex? Oh, Kevin. Okay.
Yeah, I think Kevin started it, but they all jumped on that bandwagon once it began, and it can't end soon enough for me. So.
Well, you love the spotlight, Dan. This is a passion of yours and has been a passion of yours and Jody for a long time. And so maybe for this trip, what was maybe a highlight or listen, y'all, I know you're like, I'm saying, share something. Share one highlight that's really good. you can't do that. I mean, it's really hard. But maybe just share something. You have something prepared, like an award speech. There, it's on now.
For me, there were a few highlights. One of the highlights every trip is watching the first time team members experience and interact. It's a long process of planning, traveling. We get to Nairobi, which is a site in itself. Then we travel through the countryside and small villages and towns. And then they get to meet the Kenyan people. And that's really the highlight every time. This time especially being at Simon's country home, doing a project for him was a very major highlight for me, and one that really is kind of long overdue. He's always been with us since 2008 when we first went, and we've done, I think, 8 different projects where he has been our standby, our fixer, our security, but he's always done that somewhere else away from home.
Wash hands.
Yeah, wash hands.
To tell you to
always
wash.
making sure we're doing what we need to do. He is indescribable. Like a lot of the people we partner with in Kenya, it's just indescribable.
We have some pictures, maybe. Yeah, that's Simon. I don't want to take your thunder here, man, so.
Those aren't the pictures for you, those are pictures for me.
Well, you are one because you're married. God joined you as one, so those are your pictures, but they're still Dan's too.
That's it? Oh, yeah. You know, what Pastor, the Reverend Dr. Hastings said about us, it's the same about him. He's the same person you know here, there. So, and one of the other highlights was seeing him get to preach in the church that this church built. And the building wouldn't stand if not for this congregation. And to hear Hope sing, which I think we'll get to experience that later, and Matt play guitar to accompany her, those were major highlights for me.
All right. Boss lady.
Well, I have some words from Mark, who's not here. But
Mark's parents are here.
Mark's parents are here,
Yeah.
and so let me just share a little bit from Mark. If you don't know Mark, he would not tell you this, but Green Hill High School, class of 2025, most reliable. And any team that Mark is on is a better team, just because of who he is. He works hard at everything he does. I think we've got a picture of him up there. Nope, that's not Mark, but you'll find him. There he is, a couple pictures of Mark. So we were thrilled to know that he had set his mind on joining the team, and it took a little bit of convincing, but his parents jumped right in supporting him in doing that. So again, I say to you, most reliable, any team Mark is on is a better team, and this is what he had to say about his memory. He's just moved into his dorm at UTK. As I'm typing this from my dorm room, I'm constantly thinking about what life was in Kenya. To me, in this dorm room, it is the start of a chapter I always knew I was embarking on. I always knew that I would have the opportunity to go to college and live a free life, not having to really worry about my meal plan or student debt or really anything at all. College was never a dream of mine because I knew it was going to be a reality. However, as I'm laying in my bed, my mind constantly floats to the people I met in Kenya. It would literally be a lifetime dream to attend any sort of university, especially in the U.S. I think of the construction workers mixing concrete every day from sunrise to sunset, when I, being a young athlete, could barely do a full day. My mentality towards my life and my young college career has shifted. I am obviously going to perform in school for myself and for my family. However, I'm going to work my very hardest because of the Kenyans, for the ones who do not have the same opportunities. I'm not going to take my opportunities in life for granted because others do not have the same.
Yeah, he's such a good kid, and every time, and I see, you attend the early service, the 9 o'clock, and I'm just, you've done a really wonderful job. He is a remarkable young man, so we miss him not being with us. So, yeah, share with us, Jody.
Well, I really just sit here unprepared, which is kind of ironic. My whole trip was shifted, close to departure for some personal things. And I'm a planner. I like to visualize the end result oftentimes before I move forward. And so it just required a little extra trust that the team would be what the team was supposed to be, and the trip would be what the trip was supposed to be. And that's what I kept saying along the way. And so I've said that to myself tonight. I know what I'm supposed to say to you is thank you for all of the ways that you participate, enabling us to go. I say all the time, we go, but we take you with us. Whether you've been before and I've been there with you, or whether you went before me and I've heard your stories, or whether you bring bandanas or jump ropes or cross necklaces or 400,000 pens that are actually a highlighter and a pen together, or colored pencils, all those things are an extension of Jesus to the people we deliver them to. I am always mystified by all of the planning. 2 years, he doesn't ever not think about what's next, what else can be done. And in all that planning, God does amazing unplanned things. He is a wonder. I felt very early that our trip theme was "Who is my neighbor?" And I shared that on social media, which Matt hadn't seen. But in that preaching sermon, that was the topic, the Samaritan. So God is a wonder, and he does that all along the way when we go. The thing that is most impactful to me are education stories. We have very busy days when we arrive. I was not my full self, of course, when we arrived. So after a couple of days, I needed a full day of rest, and was really in my mind a little bit about my value on the team, what I was able to do. And so we took our trip to Malili School, spent a beautiful day there, all planned out, went excellent, according to plan. And on our way back, we met children on the road who were not in school. And Shadrach and Eric were a surprise to us. We talked to them about why they were out of school, which really was the equivalent of a cup of coffee for each of them. Shadrach has dreams of engineering. He's the youngest of 4. Eric is one of 3, I believe. And his dream was a dream we had never heard before. He said he would like to be a boxer. And I remember pretty quickly thinking he doesn't think he has any education opportunities. But what we found out later was that he lives in an abusive home. So I think his dream of being a boxer is about protecting the people that he cares about. When you give discretionary funds, or you travel down the hallway, you don't even drink coffee, but you put money in the coffee shop, that money is used for those surprise things. So upon leaving, the leadership team met, and we were able to make some decisions. We were able to provide for Eric's schooling for the rest of the year, and this is a test year, so it's very important for him to be able to be in school so that he can test and have the opportunity to go to high school. We were able to take care of Shadrach's fees and his siblings. We were able to take care of an unexpected death and the costs of those things. little things like that come up fall into that category of just giving money, which sometimes people ask us about. We are fully concerned with sustainable things, but they never supersede a cup of water in Jesus' name. And sometimes that's school fees, sometimes it's groceries, sometimes it's a home visit, those unexpected things. And I just want to thank you for all the ways that you allow us to represent you in Jesus' name in Kenya.
As you pass it down that way, I'm going to move it to the Birches. The Doctor's Birch couple have done a pretty great job of raising fantastic kids as well. And Jason and Lincoln and his mom, Mindy, there she's Mindy. Share with us, is she speaking for you guys? Because I really want to make you speak, because I feel like no, they're wonderful. They are one. All of the guys with the kids around, it's like, you get back here and I'm like, you have a gift with kids. Like, all of them have a gift with, they're automatically drawn to them. Automatically. Mark, Giles, and it's amazing. And you're great with them. I mean, you're so great with them. But I'm not taking away your story. But Mindy, would you just maybe share a little bit and then have the boys, the young men, share?
I thoroughly enjoyed my time in Kenya, and it's the first time I've been with this group, so it was great to meet the partners that they've built throughout the years over in Kenya, and it was great to learn more about the history of what they've done through the years, and it was great to have my sons along too. They all found a way to play hard, and we worked hard, and we have great pictures of them playing soccer. We've got videos. I know it's not all up there, but they looked forward to those times when the kids were banging down the gate wanting to come in and play with them, and they were at it. They were ready to go. Oh, that's them on a soccer field. And one thing that I learned, and that's at the first school too, we are just so blessed. I mean, I wasn't learning that for the first time. I have been to Kenya before, but wow, what a great refresher. And I just think that everybody should go to the mission field once in their life. Go to a country that is very unlike our own, and it leaves a mark on you, because people like to say, why me, when something happens, but you go over there and you say, why me? Like, how am I so blessed just because I was born here? I loved what Mark said in his words, because yeah, you look at things very differently. The thing that strikes me the most is how our little bit goes so far. Like Jody said, $2 a month was keeping kids out of school. And if we give them $25 a year, we put a kid through elementary school. And I love to hear, as I learned on the trip, how people in this group, people in this church have sponsored kids to go through elementary school, through secondary school, and through college. And I got to meet people over there who have graduated from Suvia Children's School and who are in other schools finishing up, people who are products of our work over there. And one thing also that impressed me over there, and you see it in several of these pictures, is that we have our name all over Kenya. I'm looking to see if maybe some of them come up, but you saw Lincoln. Oh, there's one. Our name is at the very top. That's at Suvia Children's Home, because the dorm burned down for the girls' orphanage, and this church rebuilt it. There are water tank pictures in a variety of places. There's one, that little plaque behind Lincoln has our name on it, because we built the water towers with the water tank. There's another one right there, our name is on it. This one was just last summer. So this is an example of how last summer, when it wasn't one of our years to go to Kenya, we had a need that Jody and Dan shared with the church, and this borehole was rehabilitated by us, because because they presented it to us, and we can help them year round. We don't have to wait for our trip to go. And this borehole provides the water for them. And these water towers, specifically the borehole, is down with their agriculture, their crops. And when you saw the picture of Mark with the watermelon, and I think I had another one with watermelon in there, Festus was telling me all of this, the watermelon plant, the avocados, everything here that you see that we're growing and then selling and eating ourselves and making money with, that's because you fixed the borehole. And now we can provide for ourselves and, money that can provide other things. So we're just doing such a good work over there. And there are so many verses. Let me just share one. I came up with several verses in the Bible because I just love this. This is one thing that God kept telling me. Like Genesis 12:2, I will bless you and you will be a blessing. 2 Corinthians 9:8-11, and God is able to make all grace abound to you. You will be enriched in every way to be generous in every way. And another one, Proverbs 11:25. Whoever brings blessing will be enriched, and one who waters will himself be watered. It's just good things. Oh, I got to put this one in here too. One more. Matthew 5:16. Let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. Because it's not about what we do. In everything we do, we want to point it to him, right?
Stand up so they can see you. I'm just kidding.
So one thing that sticks out as soon as you start interacting with Kenyan people is how hardworking and kind they are. So Mark touched on it some, but working at the construction site with these Kenyans, it was very difficult. Me and Mark spent an hour cutting rebar together. And that hour, we were taking turns holding it and cutting it, and that hour wiped us out. And these Kenyans are doing it all day. I think.
Hang on a second. Cutting rebar. We were cutting rebar with tiny little hacksaws. So it's not like we had machines to do it, but they were way faster than us, right?
Oh yeah. I think Sydney asked one of them what they do in their free time, and he was like, what free time? So something that was special, whenever with the kids or at the schools, and even with a couple of the construction workers, we got to play soccer. And every time we saw a kid, they'd say, do you have football cleats for me? Because they just all love soccer. So something that was really impactful to me was sharing playing soccer with them. It was so in the moment, everybody was into it, and it was just all these things that separate us, the opportunities, the lifestyle. We were just all the same in that moment, except for skill, because we kind of funny story real quick. We played a soccer game, us versus a club team in Malili. And they gave us two of their club players to play with us. And we ended up winning the game 4-2, but only Kenyan scored, so. And then on a different note, going to Kenya, there's been people that have been plenty of times before, and we're hearing a lot of stories about it. And just seeing the legacy of God's work through this church and being able to see what it used to be, what it's becoming. It's just very impactful to be a part of that story.
Hi, I'm Lincoln. It's my mom and my brother. And let me apologize to anybody else if I steal your thing, but I'm going to talk about the deaf school that we visited. So it's probably the most incredible and touching place I've been in my entire life, because if you're born as a deaf child in Kenya, you are discarded almost, and you can't you don't serve a purpose to your parents as much on the farm if you can't communicate with them. And if you're a deaf child in Kenya, you're like a second-class citizen, and your parents will throw you out, and you won't have anywhere to live. And if I tell you, like, the nicest campus of any school we visited, the nicest place in all of Kenya that we visited that wasn't built for tourism was the school for the deaf children, where you walk in and it's like the greatest church camp you ever visited, but like 8 times better. And like just every kid there, even though they're born in a place with something that should just be not good for their life, it should like hold them back so heavily, it's turned into like their greatest strength here, because it lets them be in this school where they're treated so well, and you can tell that the teachers love them and everybody loves them, and they find community with people like them, even though they live in a place where they're not like everyone else and they would have no opportunity close to what a deaf person would have here. And they're just so happy and so well taken care of and so ready to play soccer and volleyball and basketball with us. And also we played them 3 matches of volleyball and lost all 3. They're very good at volleyball. Yeah, we were like kind of getting mad. They were really good. But it's just like the most like God is working here place you've ever seen. Because the kids that should have nothing have everything, and they're way happier than I'll ever be and I've ever seen anybody be.
Good, thank you. Rochelle, let's have you speak for which is the way it should always be. It should always be Rochelle speaking for the entire Regard.
Well, I don't know about that. John and Austin did accompany me on this trip, but they're not able to be here tonight, so I get to represent them. I'll summarize first to let you all know that John has been on the trip many times. So I think it was his 7th trip. So he's given this spiel a couple of times. It was Austin's first time. We've taken each of our children through the years, and this was, he's our 4th child, so this was the last one to experience it. I went myself 15 years ago in 2010, but have not been back. So it was a second experience for me, but it had been a long time, and it was interesting to see how things had changed, but yet how a lot of things were still the same. And there was a lot of things that I remembered about the area, the people, everything. I'm going to read something that Austin wrote in just a minute, but I'll tell you first, one of the things that I think this trip taught me the most, because I did kind of had an idea of what to expect, what we were going to do. You know, I had this picture in my head because I've heard the stories for years, but the overwhelming theme that I guess it was running through my head even before and while I was there is about how to be a guest. And that's hard for me sometimes. You think about how when you invite someone into your home, you don't want them to be worrying about the dishes. You don't want them to be busying around. You want them to sit and relax. And when we come to Kenya, that's what they want us to do. They want us to sit and relax and be in their home and be hosted by them. And that's hard. It's hard for me to sit still and be served and be, now that a little bit goes against what you think of a mission trip, right? Like, why were y'all just sitting? But so much of it is about the relationships that you're forming with those. And that's that Mary Martha difference there, that it's much easier for me to be busy and much harder for me to be still and worry about the relationship. So, but teaches me a lot about what's important and what they needed from us when they invite us over there. It's not just about the project. It's about the relationship. It's about having us there.
you think about how important it is when you invite someone to your home for them just to be there and to share those meals with you. And really, that takes me to my highlight was we were able to build a home for a widow woman named Alice, and her house was literally crumbling around her. And the process is we send these funds ahead of time, and so it serves a lot of different purposes. We send it ahead of time. It helps our economy. We're buying the products from there. We're employing the people there to build most of this project. So when we got there, this entire house was built. We got to see the final project. They had built it from the ground up. I don't know if they're showing you pictures or not, but Jody showed lots of pictures on Facebook of the home. But yes, that's Alice, and that's in her new home. That's the bed and the curtains that we got to pick out. Valerie got to help pick out some of that furniture with them. But we did help paint. The painting pictures that you saw was our contribution. But they did most of the work, which serves a lot of purposes because it helps the economy. It helps give them jobs. It helped a lot of people have a good couple of weeks of money in their pockets. And then we get to take pictures by it at the end and say, oh, isn't this beautiful? And this woman who, has lived in a shamble for many, many years that gets to enjoy a beautiful home. So, and hopefully she now, has a home that she's proud of, and she can invite guests in her home as well and be proud of that. I'll read you Austin's now. His favorite memory was from Suvia, the orphanage. And I think one of the reasons maybe because that's somewhere where all of his siblings have gone. And, he's heard stories through the years of Suvia. And this is what he said. He said, the thing from Africa that still sticks with me even now is the girls from Suvia Children's Home. They had almost nothing, yet their laughter and joy filled the room. I met a young girl named Winfred. I was walking, and she just ran up behind me and grabbed my hand. She is in the 8th grade. Her favorite color is blue. She loves to play soccer, and her favorite fruit is watermelon. Less than 30 seconds into our conversation, she offered to carry my backpack for me so my arms wouldn't get tired. And when I said no, she waited about 10 seconds before taking my jacket that I was holding out of my hands and slinging it over her shoulder. While in Africa, I took lots of pictures using my Polaroid camera, but only one of those pictures I keep in my phone case with me at all times. It's a picture of me and Winfred. I pray for her every night and ask you to do the same thing. She told me to pray for her to pass her exams and finish her schooling. Africa has left a giant impact on my life, but she is definitely the one I think about the most. I love you, Winfred.
Yeah, Sydney, you're up next. I will say that John Rochelle, you've done a remarkable job with your kids. They're all just really fantastic kids. Again, it's a beautiful testimony to this church and to the people who have helped walk alongside you. Austin's a great kid, and it was a lot of fun to get to know new sides of him that I never got to see when he's asking me if it's okay if he vacuums my office because he's on the plant team, or standing outside my office waiting for me to leave so he can vacuum. I'm like, buddy, you can come in here. It's anytime. They're great kids, and you guys have done a great job. So, all right, Sid.
Yay. Okay. Hey, I'm Sydney. We're going to see if Weepy Kenya Sydney returns when I try to talk about it. We'll see. Yeah, and if I ramble, just know I get it honest. My dad's a pastor, so I will, Yeah, Kenya was crazy for me, honestly, because not only was, this my first time in Kenya, this was my first time I ever left the country. We also thought it might end up being the first time that I ever flew, but it wasn't. I was thankful for that. Yeah, so my favorite part, Lincoln, you didn't steal mine. We all had great different experiences, but I am going to talk about Kakusui as well. And I literally wrote at the top, Kenya words, even though I'm still not quite sure how to talk about it. Okay. So visiting Kakusui was definitely a highlight. I was excited to go because I had one big old semester of college ASL that I had taken, and I wanted to kind of see if I could use it. Yeah, that's all the Kakusui kids. Okay, perfect. Yeah. There was a long line. Okay, wait. Getting to share what little I knew with them had such a big pull on my heart. They just loved being able to communicate at all with any of us. There was a long line at one point of kids who just wanted to come and spell their names to me. They were hungry to be known, and I think that I see myself in that hunger that they had. I live wanting to be known. I think other people do too, and it was really special to see these kids. Some of them even scratching the letters of their names into their skin when I couldn't keep up with their spelling. I think that's a big part of why it was such a deep experience for me, was just getting to communicate with them. I met Daisy. She's in the bottom middle. She's the one on the left. Yeah, so I met Daisy. She clung to me from the moment that she saw me sign anything. Her and her friends were very curious about my life. We looked through pictures on my phone, and I told them about my job and our long flights and whether or not I was married, whether or not I had kids, my favorite things to do. They really wanted to talk about how long it took us to get there, too. That was so fascinating to them. They expressed how excited they would be when they saw us again. I danced and I goofed around with the youngest ones that were there over on the side. Christine actually got a video of it, but I don't think that I sent it, sorry. And it was like we played like red light, green light, and like it was just so fun. They just wanted to like be near us, and it was just so special. Yeah, I wrote, God moved in the quietness of Kakusui for me, and I left there feeling heavier and lighter all at once. I just can't wait to be back. So that's Kakusui for me, and then you can go to the next one, because I made little collages. That's just all of us. Those are some of my favorite pictures. Me and Hope took disposable cameras, and the film came back really good. Okay, so my biggest takeaway and personal favorite thing. I shared a little bit on Facebook about my intensity as a person, how I've never felt anything lightly in my entire life. Nothing is ever small for me. The way that I love people is not small to me. The way I experience the world is not small to me. Everything is very, very, very deeply embedded in my being when I feel it, and Kenya was no different. But I was still surprised because I was so uncomfortable to be there. The whole time, I was just like, Jody kept saying, you just have to be uncomfortable. You just have to be okay with it. And that is very against my nature. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people already about just a general change of heart that I experienced in Kenya and coming home. It's one of those quieter, softer things that God seems to have done. Outside of my personal experiences with the team, I was able to have something really special there just for myself. It's something I still can't quite put words to. I was talking to 20-somethings last week, and about how it's very easy for me to get entrenched in my rhythms and my routines and the way that I like my schedule to be. I kind of go on autopilot. So being in Kenya, it is not my belief that God was speaking differently to me. I just think that I had a special and different ability to listen to him better. Yeah, because when you get out of all these things, like, I think that God's been speaking into my life and speaking into my heart for a long time, but I just didn't allow him to get through my thick skull, I guess, as my dad would say, or to actually take the time to hear. So I went to Kenya and God spoke differently to me. I went to Kenya and I heard what God had been saying to me, which is very special for me. Yeah, Jody pushed me to lean into my uncomfortable during our trip. It's against my nature, and to find ways that being uncomfortable could shift things for me. That was her big thing. She was, Sydney, how can the things that are making you uncomfortable really change you for good? And that was very helpful. It was the most uncomfortable I've ever been, but it is also the best thing I've ever been a part of. I will never be the same, and what a gift it is to be so changed. I remember, this is like a little bit cushy for me, because I remember sitting in here 2 years ago when the last team got back and they talked about their trip, and I just came to be like, oh, that's so fun, my friends went. And that was the first time that I felt God kind of tug on my heart about the possibility of going to Kenya. So I can't explain to you the way that it smells to walk down Sarah's driveway, or the way that it feels when you walk through Mathari and into church and the whole front 3 rows clear so we can all sit down. I can't explain that stuff to you. So if at all you feel a tug and like you could be on the next trip, like listen to that, because 2 years ago I would not have thought that I would have ever done this. And instead I went and I sobbed on Alex's shoulder as we left, because how do you turn around and walk into the airport and leave them? So I'll never be the same. I have traded my ignorance in for some really, really good knowledge. And God was with me here before I went. But I think God is within me in a different way now that we're back. So.
Yeah, we'll have Hope and then Beth. I don't know if you know this or not, but this church has so many pastors' kids from all over the place. You're about to hear from another pastor's kid, Hope. And to know that pastors' kids are coming to this church because they feel loved and seen and embraced is pretty remarkable. And trading in ignorance, I mean, that's really, really good. So I hope that somebody wrote that down. Also, hi, come on up. Hi, I said that I didn't want, the female Buzz Lightyear. A couple of we usually have our 20-somethings group that happens tonight, and a lot of them have kids. A couple of those kids are my kids that wanted to hear this, hear us talk about it. So I told them to let their kids play in the back. She's fine. Brooks wants to come up, it's fine. Anybody who's got a problem with it, you can try to talk to me about it if you want to. But what part of it is I want them to see even the pictures, and I want them to, because I want to indoctrinate them in some respects, right, in a healthy way, so they see and know. Okay, Hope.
Hey guys, before I introduce myself, I'm going to preface my introduction with, this is how we would introduce ourselves to the people of Kenya in the schools that we would visit, in the homes that we would visit. I would say, hello, my name is Hope. My Kenyan name is Danu, and I work at the university in Tennessee, and I am a recruiter. My mom is an accountant, and my dad is a pastor. So we would introduce ourselves, but I want to point out the importance of family to Kenyans. It just outweighs anything I have ever seen before. So we introduced our family members as well, because that is who we are. We are our family. And then the second thing I noticed in that introduction was we introduce the thing that we do, our occupation. We introduce that because we want to show the children that there's hope for them, that they can do whatever they want to do. They can grow up and they can go to university. They can get a job that they want. And one of my favorite things was when Haley would introduce herself as a pilot and the room would light up, because the kids there, I mean, you dream as a kid and you're playing with model airplanes, and that's exactly what they're doing there. And so to give them hope that the dreams that they have can be accomplished, it really gave me light and life to know that given their circumstances, they're still holding on to hope. And it also really showed me how privileged I am to be in an occupation that I always dreamed of, to be able to be a recruiter and be an includer, get people together, plan things. That's my dream, and I get to do that. And just giving hope to the children there that they can accomplish their dreams too. So I really appreciate all of you for supporting me, for encouraging me. I was really nervous to go on the trip as I felt like it was a huge sacrifice. But in those nerves and in those sacrifices, that's when I knew I needed to go, because it was so hard to go. So in the pictures here, kind of the takeaways from the trip for me, one of them being simplicity. So we would sit under the tent every morning, late morning-ish, and every evening before we would have supper, and we would sit and we would drink tea, we would read, we would debrief from the day, and even if we were at the work site, it was a requirement that you're going to stop working and you're going to go to the tent and you're going to have tea with everyone. Because once again, family and community is so important to the Kenyan people. So we would all get together, even though that is so countercultural for us to stop our work and sit and eat and drink tea. We did that there. So that's something that I really took away from the trip. And then something else, kind of going along the lines of simplicity, we got to see them grow their own food. They raise chickens, goats, donkeys, all the things, and that is what they live off of, is the food that they grow and the animals that they raise. And seeing how all of that worked was very inspiring to me, and once again just showed me how privileged I am, as I don't have to factor in all of those things. I don't have to think about, well, I need to make sure I have time after work to tend to my garden, but I can just go to the store and get whatever I want. So yes, that was definitely something. That was the garden behind Simon's house. So he had all of those things there. And in the background, you can kind of see what we were starting to build was the Malili Community Center there. So some people don't have super great constructed homes, but like I said, family, community, so important. So to have a meeting place there in Malili, we were tasked with helping build the community center. So they had a place where they can come together, they could learn, they could grow, pour into their community. So we got to help build that and meet with a lot of the men in the community. And I think that was probably the highlight, and they put us to work. And Mindy, I'm surprised you didn't include this in your highlights. I was working so hard that, I was propping myself up on one of the walls. Well, it hadn't hardened yet, and it fell on Mindy. So, I mean, how did you not think that as a highlight? But then the boys gave me a really hard time. They were like, "We heard what you did to our mom," and I was like, "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to." So yeah. Anyways, but that was a highlight for me, and then on to the next week, we went from Malili to Tawa, and we got to serve the church there. And you have probably seen me lead worship on Sundays occasionally, and I I guess, voluntold, hey, Hope, you're singing a song. I was asked, but I was like, I can't say no. So I did. I got to lead a song there, and I was really nervous about it, but I just felt such a sense of peace when I was leading, and that's not a normal emotion for me when I am singing in front of people. And so to have felt that sense of peace really kind of, trying to think of the word, it solidified for me that I am on the right track with my walk with God, and that I am kind of sorting out whether or not I have a call to ministry, and maybe worship could be that call to ministry. I'm not sure. But in that church, getting to lead those people, feeling an overwhelming sense of the Holy Spirit, an overwhelming sense of peace, just knowing that God sees me, he sees the places that I'm stepping into, even though I don't want to and I'm nervous, but he sees that and he is with me in those moments. So those were my big takeaways from Kenya, and I really appreciate all of your support.
Good. Thank you, Hope. I like the words about community, or you're introducing your family first, because, I think all of us realize that too pretty quickly. I would say I have kids, and they would say, where's their mother? That's the first thing that they said. And I said, well, she's with them because she's the one in charge of everything. And it's like for them knowing that kids, our family is a connection. Also, you grew up in a pastor's home. You got voluntold to do stuff all the time. So you were used to it. You could handle it. You took it fine. All right. I have so many things I want to say, but I'm not going to say them about Beth yet. Beth, we walked, 25, 30 miles to the soccer field. It felt like 20. They would say that it's just there, and we believed them that it was just there. It was not. It was not just there. It was. I kept looking at Beth, who, by the way, never complained one time. And I'm like, I don't think this is just there. I just feel like we're gonna die out here. This is what we're gonna walk all this way. And then it was 3.5 kilometers, 25 kilometers, ministerially speaking. I mean, and we got there, and I said, it's gonna be dark soon. We have to turn around and go back because we don't see anything in front of our faces. But share with us, Beth.
Well, this was my third time to go to Kenya, and you have to forgive me. I'm not a speaker. I'm a crier, and I apologize in advance for that. But this one was a little bit different for me because I knew it would probably be my last time to go. I've said that before, but I think this was probably the last time. I prayed, though, that every time I go, I always pray, help me find the spot where I'm supposed to be and what I'm supposed to do. Sometimes it's mending sweaters. This one I wasn't too sure about, but I soon found out that the highlight of my trip was just spending time with Sarah. And if you know Sarah, she's very easy to love, her and Simon both. But this time we bonded a little bit deeper. Whether we were doing home visits or whether we were walking to those places that are just there. Down those red dirt roads. Or just sitting and talking with her was where I found joy this time. We bonded over missing our husbands, the loneliness that we feel sometimes, and the joys and the heartbreaks of raising our children, and the bond that will forever be a part of my heart. And Simon and Sarah are truly God's masterpieces. But I want to talk about this team just a little bit because I watched all of these team members. They work hard. They play hard, and they enjoyed each other. And I soaked up the songs, the watermelon songs, the games, and the meals in the tent where the conversation could lead anywhere. And they were all such a wonderful group to travel with, and to get to know each of them was even better. But it never ceases to amaze me how giving the people of Kenya are. They have so little, but they give so much. And if you ever need a lesson in gratitude, please consider going to Kenya. If you think you can't, you can. If it is your desire to go, God will provide a way for you to go. Step out of your box and know the joy that this trip can be. You will be changed, and Kenya will remain in your heart and in your mind forever. But remember, if they tell you it's just there, it is not just there.
Oh, thank you. You are a remarkable woman. And every one of these team members and those who know Beth, there are so many, there are so many layers to the life that she is living and has lived, and she is remarkable. And for you to say, if you don't think you can't, she means that. Because I know that it was hard. I know that there was pain, and I know, but nobody ever heard anything about it because she's just a godly, wonderful woman. We are honored to know you and to have shared this with you. And maybe we'll figure out a way to get you back there. So let's go ahead and have you go, and then I'm going to have the next group come because speaking of people who have to fly planes, Haley has to go fly a plane. Beth, Valerie, Hunter Steinmetz. Hunter Steinmetz, paging Hunter Steinmetz. Dawson Aloysius Bush. No, I'm just kidding. That's not his middle name. Haley and Giles. So, yeah, Haley, you go first because I know you got to go, and share with the group. Your favorite thing is to be in front of people. No, you would rather just be in a cockpit with the door shut and do your job, I know. But share with us.
Well, I'm not going to say what my favorite thing was, but I want you to know about this team and what you've done for the people in Kenya. You have provided food, a school, meals, tuition. You have provided so much, even by not going. I didn't realize when we talk about the kids that we saw on the road that Jody was talking about when we went to the school. We'd left Malili's school and we were walking back, and we were with Christine. So, and she saw these two boys, one little boy with a goat on a piece of rope. And his job that day was to take the family goat. I don't know how far he had to walk to get the water for the goat, but that was his job. And she asked him, well, why aren't you in school? Our school here is free. Their school is not free. They have to pay to go to their local school. Even though they don't get school meals, they don't get anything at school, they have to pay school fees to go to school. So his family hadn't been able to pay his tuition, and he got kicked out of school. And Christine knew that he wasn't by himself, so she sort of called, and another boy, the other boy came out as well, an older cousin, I think, and both of them were unable to attend school. The older one, as Jody said, this was an important year for him because he was taking his tests. So little things like that you provide by getting a cup of coffee. The other things you do, as Mindy mentioned, was the borehole, so that Suvia can water their crops, to grow watermelons, to provide income for them. So you guys are doing that too. We are also helping build the community center that Hope spoke about in Malili, which will be a huge asset to that community. But there's so many things that we can do above and beyond because it doesn't take much. So it's opened my eyes to the possibility of the many things we can do. The house that we bought, we painted for Alice that had already been built. There's a lot of people that do things behind the scenes, and that's the other thing I was going to mention. When I went to Africa, I didn't realize how easy it would be. 3 cooked meals a day. We had a chef. Peter and Caleb cook for us every day. I mean, we didn't ever have to think about eating, and Mindy and I even said, we're going to have to go back and think about grocery shopping and cooking for our families. We've been so well looked after. We had tea time, and we were made to stop working and have tea, and we'd have to come in and sit and have our tea, and Peter would make the tea for us, and sometimes we'd have special biscuits or donuts or something to go with it. But we also had drivers. Alex was a wonderful driver. He drove us everywhere, even when we scraped the side of his bus coming down to Simon's house. One of the pictures you saw up there were the boys cutting down the hedge. There was so much that prickly stuff.
It's treacherous hedge is what it is, because if you get pricked with it, well, they would say you go blind.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell you this, Jody, but I got poked in my thumb by one of those. I told Haley, my hand swelled up, and I know it's fine. Everything's fine. Yes, I had to have it removed, and it's fine, but. It really was. Yeah, and so, because I was saying when we're pulling in, first of all, I had to go and use the little boys' room so bad. And we were going so slow on this road that I almost jumped out of the window to relieve myself. And they said, don't do that because those things will kill you. Those things will actually kill you. They said it will make you go blind if the stuff gets you. Yeah. Well, guess what? It probably will kill you. So I had the bright idea to have them we'll just go out and have the boys chop this stuff down after I heard that it will potentially kill you. So I apologize.
That's fine. You can interrupt.
Everybody's fine. Yeah. Everybody turned out fine.
So the other thing I was going to say, so we had Alex, he was our chauffeur, he looked after us the whole way, but Dan and Jody, I know probably you all know, anyone that's been, they do everything for us. Everything's planned, everything is taken care of, but they are the rock stars. When we got there, and the chairman took care of us, and Jody too, she's like our mother matron, she's making sure everyone's healthy. We had Band-Aids, we had everything we needed because of these two, who their hearts are with the Kenyan people, but they also want to make sure that we experience it the way that they want us to experience, and it's life-changing. So, thank you.
I've always known I wanted to go to Africa since I knew about it. I've gone to this church since I was in first grade. I've always known I wanted to go. I always heard like stories and about how much it changed you, but I didn't like. I didn't think like how much it would actually change about everything. One thing that I always like, I'll close my eyes and see all the kids' faces. Like all the kids in Mathari like running up to us when we got there, and they have like nothing and sell corn on the street. Pretty much have nothing. They were so excited to see us. at Suvia, if the whole time, all the kids, it was like a language barrier. I couldn't really talk to them. It was really hard to understand them. But they just like loved being with us in our presence. This one girl named Yvonne, we went to go pick watermelons, and she grabbed my hand and she's like, come here. And she helped me pick a watermelon, and I was holding it, and she was like, let me hold it for you. Same thing Austin said, like, about the backpack. Like, they didn't want you to hold anything, so she took the watermelon from me. I was like, oh, it's okay, and she's like, no, I got it. Yeah. And the whole time, like, I would talk to her, but it was still, like, I couldn't really make great conversation, but she just held my hand and walked around the whole place. And at the end, we, like, got on the bus, and I saw, like, running past the window of the bus, and she ran up onto the bus and gave me this bracelet. I just constantly think about her and all the kids there. Miss Jody always told me how hard it was going to be. And I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't think like it would change everything. Like at the deaf school, we got a tour of the building, and we walked around the whole place. And then I think my group, it was like me, Jason, Mark, Lincoln, and Mr. Dan, and we were like the first group done with our tour. And we walked down the stairs, and there was kids in, like Lincoln said, the best church camp. And it was me walked down first, and then Mark was behind me. And right when I walked down, like 5 kids just ran up and surrounded me and hugged my legs and wouldn't let me go. And it's just, Pastor Matt said this, and I always think about it, how it's God's backyard. Like everyone there is just so friendly, and it truly is like, I want to go back so bad. It is God's backyard, and it's so beautiful.
And you are, actually I think Hunter said that. Hunter said that. But when you say it in the future, tell everybody I said it. Another kid, young man, I've just fallen in love with. Watching him, there was one time we were walking, and the kids were at the fence, just so their faces at the fence, and it was like it's like, what? This is heartbreaking, because you want to just give them everything you have in that moment, and you did, you all did, but it was really remarkable to see all the guys, especially the guys with the kids. So you got something else?
Yeah. This was one of my favorite memories. I just forgot to say it because I was crying. At Sarah's house, she has a gated, at the front of her house, she has a gate, and there was like probably like 60, like so many kids lined up, and just would wait there for so long. Right when we would get back, they would surround the bus, and they wouldn't know we were there. And me, Austin, Jason, Lincoln, and Mark went out there the first night, and we got surrounded and jumped on and tackled, and we played keep away because we had a soccer ball, and it was like us versus them, and you couldn't do anything about, like, they would jump on you, and there were so many of them, you couldn't do anything about it. And we like just made up games. Like Lincoln and Austin started doing the Macarena, right? Yeah. And they all like would see us like later at a school, and they would start doing it. They would come up to Lincoln or Austin and start doing it. And they just like, they had nothing, but they loved seeing us. And
Haley, if you need to go. I know you have to go. So, Jeff and Haley, you've got great kids. Chloe and Giles are just fantastic. It's so fun to worship with them here and see them. And I got to know Giles in a way that I just have fallen in love with him. He's just such a good kid. So I'm grateful for you. All right, Miss Valerie.
Hi, I'm Valerie, and I have been lucky, blessed to have been able to go 7 times. And I had some stories of my favorite time, but Giles just reminded me pretty much my favorite was about Giles. We had just gotten to Sarah's, and he came and he found me frantically, and he said, Miss Valerie, do we have any shoes for this little boy? And I said, okay, we have shoes. Go find out what size he is. So Sarah let him bring him into our home, and we found him some shoes, and he sat with them, and he got the shoes on him, and they were bright red, and they were really perfect. And then I said, go get him some things, fill up a bag, and he's like, really? Get some. So I watched Giles give this little child new shoes, but he kept talking about it, and he was beaming. I think he was happier than the child that got the red shoes. But then we would see that little boy at school, and those shoes were really red, and he would just run by, and I would say, look at Giles, you just got your shoes. And every night that they come back, and they would ask more for shoes, but the little red shoes were special because we had just got there, and he hadn't even fallen in love with all the kids yet, but his little heart just wanted that boy to have some of our shoes. So that was one of my favorites. I wanted to talk about Mathari, which is the slums. Kevin doesn't like us to call it the slums because it's their home. But I've been blessed to go twice, and Mathari was someplace I did not want to go. I'd heard from some of them about the despair. And after I went the first time, I found out that they have little to eat, they have little places to live, but they have huge hearts. And the way they sing to God and the way they pray for everything is pretty much an inspiration to anybody. And if you're a pastor or if you're the closest to God, those little people have a special, special gift. They live in, as you can see, some of the worst places on earth. Actually, I think this is actually the biggest and the worst slum. So I was really excited to go back because I knew what to expect this time. And this time, I was blessed by my family to have a whole pocket full of money. My family gave up Christmas presents, and they all put it together and gave it to me to buy chickens and goats. And we heard how chickens and goats are important there. But I was told by Sarah and Simon that that was not a good place for the money, that we could do better things with it. And so they didn't tell me what to do, and I just had a huge pocket of money and was ready to give out our Christmas gift. And at the very last moment, we went to Mathari, and Kevin, who's right here, he was passing out the food that we had paid for, and he kept saying, this is like our Christmas. See, Christmas for us today is the food you brought. And I said, after the third time, I said, okay, Lord, Christmas gift is going to Kevin. He's going to feed some children. So I was blessed to deliver that. But then when I talked to Kevin, and he said, this was more important than it had been because they'd been short on food. And when I left it, I have a feeling a couple other people left money also. But I said, will it last a month or so? And he said, absolutely, and we're going to get to have chapati, which is that beautiful tortilla and soup instead of tea and bread. Because our church, I'm in love with this church because they feed these children every single day, every day. And on special occasions, if you give Pastor $10, they'll get that. Or $20, all 200 of them will get that. And so it's such a little tiny amount of money. Probably my worst memory was we were leaving after we fed all these children, and they were so happy. Kevin and I and everybody was walking down, and all these children were running with empty bowls and cups, very excited. And Kevin's like, no, it's all gone. And he said, there's no more, we already ate. And so they were like devastated. Like, what? We missed it. And Kevin said, I don't stay when the food is being eaten because I can't stand to see who's left with nothing. So he won't stay after he's delivered the food. So that part, when the children were running down towards Kevin with those empty bowls, it will be ingrained in my life, my heart, my mind forever. But I wanted to challenge the church to go back to doing poverty dinners. They were simple and sweet. And you came one evening instead of going out to dinner to Cinco or somewhere else, and you ate with us, and you left what you would have spent at a restaurant. Or we could do coffee for Kenya, where you just skip Starbucks a week and put that amount in, and we send it. They wire it to Kevin, and he can feed them some extra food on a day that they'll be missed. So that's my favorite.
You are a bright light. It is who you are. And all of us know, if you've known her, you know that's true. It is how she is and who she is. It's so fun to be with someone who loves so deeply and cares so deeply for kids, particularly those who are on the margins, literally in the margins of life. And yet, it's interesting for me to hear you say, Mathari, is that for you? Like, it was like I didn't want to go, because that was where I saw this. It's like a paradox. It's holding two things that don't make sense. It is one of the worst impoverished places I've seen. And then Jody's like, Valerie's like, hi, it's bringing light. Like, that's who she is. So it's interesting to hear you say that, because I got the sentiment that it was like a place to bring, for your countenance to bring joy, which it's really what you do anywhere. You're just a lot of fun. You're a lot of fun, and there's a whole lot more than that to you. But I want to say I'm grateful to have shared that time with you. It's fun. It's up. You're up, brother.
Brother. Yeah, this mic is hot, dude. I was like, that was pretty loud. All right. So it's, to me, doing things like this, it's like whenever you have a really good day or like a big trip, and then your parents are like, so how was it? And then immediately after that question, you forget every single thing that you did the whole time, and you're like searching for the one thing that could sum up the whole trip. And I don't have that. The whole trip is top to bottom the most life-changing, heart-altering trip. Every day is something new that changes your view. And I think that's something that I want to talk about. And I think it fits really well with us talking about Ezekiel on Sunday mornings. But the idea that some things that you see break you in the best possible way. Going to places like Kenya, you see extreme happiness, and you see things that, like, people who get new houses and their lives are changed, and you get to be a part of that, and you get to really act in these people's lives, but you also pass all of the other houses that you didn't get to fix, and the children who didn't get food, and that's hard, and it breaks you, and it's hard to say that you're thankful for that, but I'm thankful for being broken. I'm thankful for the fact that I live differently because I saw those things. The beauty, like something we've talked about in some of my classes at school, is like mission trips are great. They're wonderful. Like the 1 week you do something good, and then you leave and you never go back. The beauty of this relationship that we have is that we always go back. It's the same people. And so we have built like such a powerful relationship with this community. And so this was my second time going, and I got to see kids that I saw last time. Kids like Moses and Amos and all of the kids that were burnt into my memory. I got to see them again. And in one of my classes, a book we read, it said, sometimes the best thing is that the Lego tower that I tried to make for myself gets broken down, and God is the one who puts it back together. He puts it back together so it won't fall. So, for me, Kenya is the place where God puts me back together. I'm thankful for that.
I love you so much. You're part of what we're seeing is the shaping of a pastoral heart. So it's fun to watch that and be a part of people, because I care more about people than I do positions, and so having people that feel like you were broken in the best possible way is so beautiful, and I love you. I'm proud of you. H. Charles of Steinmetz.
I'll say three things. The first thing is, which actually kind of starts with Valerie and her curious mind and heart. Probably 2014, Valerie asked the question, how much does a water tank cost? To which we found it was $150 to have it delivered, installed, and filled. And this part of Kenya is very arid, so there are 2 rainy seasons, and so if it does not rain, totally agrarian society, they grow their own food. If there's no rain, they have no food. It's very problematic. If it doesn't rain in October or April, it's bad. A couple years ago, it rained too much, and then it flooded, so you have to have the right amount of rain. But if you can have a water tank, you don't have to walk 5 miles to the river and carry 5 gallons of water back to your house for drinking, cooking, and things. So Valerie asked that question, and we began to do that. Valerie didn't pay for all of them. Valerie asked one question, and over time, our people came together, and some people who don't even go to church here, they just heard about the mission, they gave towards it. And so there was a large gift this year to buy a lot more water tanks, and Sarah, who is like the Mother Teresa of this community, Tawa, I think we bought 60, is that right? Sarah said, I think that's it. And she said, people in Tawa don't go to the river anymore. And it is solely because of the work of Hermitage Church. I mean, I'm going to brag on us. Solely because of the work of Hermitage Church. But the work of Hermitage Church was only made possible because Valerie asked a curious question. She looked at something and said, how much is that? And over a decade and a half, people don't go to the river anymore. They have clean water that falls from the sky that they harvest. That's an incredible thing that our church has done. There's a community on the other side of the world that has clean water because of us. The second thing I'll say is we went, we were at Simon's house. This is the first time ever, so we're in Malili. It's a new town. This is my 8th trip, and so I've never been to this place, and we go to a school. It's a very poor school. The roof is falling apart. There's craters in the floor. And even as we're all together, they asked a student to speak on behalf of the people at the school and said, will you give me a floor for my school? To which all of us American school kids are like, can we get out for snow? Right. And he's saying, can you give me a floor so that I can go to school? I don't really know what to do with that. And so I'm still struggling with that. But as we're sitting, I don't know if we have any pictures of Malili. I didn't take very many pictures. Well, okay, so that's the classroom. But if there's I don't know if there's a picture of us, like if there's one facing a mountain, that'd be great. But I didn't take very many pictures this time. I tried to live in the moment because Valerie was with us and she took all the pictures. Better than the ones I would take anyway. But as we were sitting there, it's in the bottom of a valley, and it's just mountainscapes, and this place it's the paradox. It's like the juxtaposition of this place is so poor, but it is so beautiful. And then we go to Kakusvi, the deaf school, and I'm on the 3rd floor of this polytechnic building looking out, And there's another huge mountain amidst the people who their parents have said, we don't want you because you're not whole. And they have this great community here, and it's like, wow. And we go to Suvia, the orphanage, and there's the huge mountain just like right there in the bottom of the valley. And it occurred to me that it's almost as if God said, this is my backyard. These are my people. I have been taking care of them. And it's up to you now. Not as if God isn't doing it anymore. But I need you to take responsibility for this. They belong to me. They're in my yard. But I need you to step in. This is the place where you actually do something. I think, I'm not preaching, I promise. But it's in me. I mean, what am I supposed to do? God called me to it. I think we can get really, it's very easy for us to go, wow, look at this cool thing that our church is doing. That we could have some like humanist response to this, that this is simply humanitarian aid, which has its place and purpose. But this is the gospel of Jesus Christ. There is no like, how, wow, this is cool. This is our, can I say, obligation. That Christ died for us. He poured out his life for us so that we could do that for others. And it is, if I could just be so bold, it is not enough for us to act like it's not there. And like Mark said, so beautifully in his absence, all of these things that I just take for granted, it was never a dream, it was just something that I was going to do. One of the things even that Dawson said is, when I go back to Kenya, it reminds me that I'm not allowed to live the same. I can't. Kenya, I say, the three things that most shaped who I am is Hermitage Church Nazarene, Trevecca Nazarene University, and my relationship with Kenyans. And that's because the Hermitage Church and Trevecca have done so many things for me, but what Kenya does for me is it forces me to live my life differently. I cannot spend my money the same way. I cannot save money for certain things a certain way. I don't use as much water as I would. There's been times when I woke up in the middle of the night so thirsty, just in the dark, like scooping water into my mouth because I'm so thirsty. And I look at my dark silhouette and I just cry because I just went to clean water 2 feet away from my bed because I was thirsty. And I hear the cries of children to their mother, "Mom, I'm thirsty." And she has to say, "I'm sorry, baby. I don't have any." I don't know what to do with that. And so every time I go back to Kenya, it reminds me that when I come back here, I spend my time differently. I spend my money differently. I live in relationships differently. And and sometimes I'm landing the plane, I promise. Sometimes people say, why do you people spend so much money to go when you could just give them that money? Because it reminds me every 2 years that we go, I can't do it like that. I have to do better. Because this is not just humanitarian aid. It is the gospel of Jesus Christ who gave his life for us, and we ought to do the same for our brothers and sisters. So, I say all of that to say, Jen says, hug, punch, hug. So I'm hugging, I'm finishing this with, our church actually does that, and it's evidenced by the first story that I told. And I'll just leave you with this. This is what I want you to remember from me. Sarah's quote, "People around here don't go to the river anymore because we are living into the obligation to the commitment to loving our neighbor and to serving the poor. And that is what Christ has called us to do. And when judgment comes on Israel, it's because they're not taking care of the poor. That's what it is. That's why Ezekiel's like, hey guys. So bringing it back to Sunday morning, Pastor. But yeah, that's what I got. I can't live the same because of Kenya.
Thank you. All right. Listen, people fly, and then this is why we go, why was this plane late? It's because you were at church and you can. So, all right, you can go down. Thank you. I want to say real quickly, part of what Hunter said, and Hope, would you come up? I'm going to do my little part here real quickly, and then you and I will I'll play, and you can lead with us ending this song. But Hunter won't tell you this, but we met a young man who Hunter met years ago, who he just saw something different in him. Something's going on with this. I just was drawn to, which is why when people say, well, you should just use that money to send it instead of going. It doesn't work like that. You heard them talk about relationship. Sending money is the easiest thing. Sacrifice, you say, well, I'm spending money to go on a trip. Yeah, okay. But the sacrifice is the communal aspect, because they stop for tea time. And our rhythm and our life is the thing that might be wrong, because we're going so hard to make more money, to be mad, to beat someone else out of something else. And the simplicity is the thing that I find. Hunter was changed by that little boy. He pays for him to go to college. He won't tell you that, and I only found out because I'm his boss, and he told me. It's like, I'm like, wait a second, what? And the young man came, and we found out that he is the top of his class, and they brought us a goat. And his mom brought us a goat to celebrate. And Hunter said, we don't say no, because you wanted to say, thank you. No. It's basically saying, that's not good enough for us. So instead of that, we received that on Hunter's behalf, and so it was really a remarkable, beautiful thing. Real quick, I don't know if my pictures are up there. I got to preach at Tawa, as Dan mentioned. That is not Tawa, but there. Yeah, I got to meet Pastor Benson, who, real quickly, my sister married. If you are in the Church of the Nazarene for a long time, you know the Schmelzenbach name, which is a really unfortunate name, Schmelzenbach. They were the start of the Nazarene Church in Africa, in the continent of Africa, essentially in Swazi, which is now called Eswatini. Pastor Benson was ordained in 2017 in the Church of the Nazarene, and then before getting ordained, he decided to go to Eswatini. By the way, I forgot all about my roots and my family, and that my sister is married into this Nazarene sort of lineage kind of thing. And I go to his office, and he's telling me these stories, and he said, I went to Eswatini so I could learn about where the Church of the Nazarene started. And I said, I waited for him to finish, and I said, my sister lives in Eswatini. My sister is married to a Schmelzenbach. And you should have seen his face. It was like he just wanted to bow down, because it was very odd. But there was a reverence to the sacrifice that was made by my brother-in-law's family. I'm amazed by him as a leader. At this point in his life, he was struggling even some health challenges and things, and still was there at the church. And it was a really fun church to be a part of. And this church built that church. And it's really nice. It stands out in so many different ways. All right, the next slide, I want to tell you that we went to the school in Malili. And as I was... this little girl's face is burned into my mind. I've favorited it on my pictures so that I can see it on a regular basis. All of those who went to Kenya, what is white person? Say it louder. So when she is yelling and like laughing Mzungu, and she's grabbing my face, my white beard. Well, it's not really a beard. It's sort of trying to be a beard. But I was kind of drawn to her. They were doing the tour and they were doing all the things that we're supposed to follow. Everybody's doing the tour. Well, I can't help myself because there's a kid that keeps like peeking out from the side. So I don't really care about being around all the adults. I'd rather go over here with a kid and I talk to her, and then they're kind of trying to get the teachers to get her because she is what we would say considered special needs, which I imagine is behavioral. And I'm reminded of my son who has struggled and comes to this place, and you are gracious. And I know it's not easy, but you are gracious. So I imagine this little girl being shooed away a lot. And so I talked to her for a little bit, and she would only say, white person, and grab my face. I think there's another picture, maybe. I don't know. Maybe there's not. Yeah. I think about that little girl. And I wanted to pay attention to that little girl, because I think a lot of the attention she gets might be in the same way that our own son tries to get attention. And so I saw some pictures of some of you. I saw Rochelle. I saw you with her. And I'm amazed at the impact that someone could have on your life. I've been to Africa before a couple of times. Our 20-year-old son is from Ethiopia. And my dad and I went to Eswatini. There's a great story there. We smuggled in a bunch of technology for my sister's organization. This trip was really pivotal, I think, for me in a lot of ways, mostly that I got to spend it with people from this church. I don't get to be with you as much as I've tried to figure out ways that I could get to know people quickly. But it's hard, you know? You all have things you're doing. You all have lives and stuff. You're kind of forced to stop when you're in Kenya. And it's really good. It's really, really good. So I'm grateful that we had a time, incredible time together. I love this team so much. I'm looking forward to more stories that come out. If you, please, it would really be a great idea if you just said after church one day, you talk to one of these team members and say, hey, I'll take you to lunch. You want to just talk about Kenya? And you'll get stories, because there's so much more we want to say. Part of the reason why I have always been hesitant about organization, we send money, is because a lot of times it's through corporations or through a different kind of, these are relationships with people who are on the ground in Kenya, and I got to see with my own eyes things that were happening. I'm the same way. Valerie, I didn't take money for souvenirs. I asked Festus at the girls' orphanage about a beehive. He wanted to get a beehive, and he wanted to plant 100 avocado trees and 100 guava trees. And I was asking him how much it was. And I had all that in my pocket, and I just gave it to him because I knew I wasn't going to buy a bunch of souvenirs. And literally 2 weeks later, after we'd gotten back, I got pictures from him of the beehive. And one of the things I asked him if he would do, I said, hey, would you mind maybe teaching the girls how to do this? Maybe teaching the girls how to harvest the honey because part of what they're doing is giving skills and opportunities for a couple of the young ladies that were there were what they called them pioneers, those who graduated from the school and went and got jobs. And then he showed me pictures of them. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, I didn't have the caveat of show me proof. That's not what it was. But I don't think that's really what it was for them either. He just wanted to show me that God was using this church. And can I tell you, it wasn't very much money. It wasn't very much money. It's actually kind of embarrassing. So anyway, could you stand with me? Hope's going to sing. We're going to sing the song "Worthy of It All." This is the song we did in worship at Tawa, and hopefully, if you don't know it, it's fine. But I'd love for you to sing along with us, and then I'll close us out in prayer. Lord, you indeed deserve the glory, all that we do and all that we say. I pray that tonight has been an inspiring time for everyone to hear stories and see pictures. May the breath of your lungs blow through us and ruin us in the best possible way. And may we never, ever be able to see things any other way. Bless us tonight as we go about our weeks, the things that are coming up in our lives. Give us peace, we pray, in Christ's name. Amen. Thanks for being with us. You have something, you're coming. You want to sing? Okay, she's going to sing. Jody's going to sing, everybody.
Hey, somebody asked about giving tonight. Teresa Vines is our treasurer. She's in the back. She can answer questions, also all the money things. We also have coffee and chai in the lobby. Don't let it go to waste. Thank you so much for coming. We love you. Remember, we take you with us.